Okay, we'll call the meeting to order for the Kingston Springs Regional Planning Commission for September 8th, 2022. And we'll have the roll call of voting members. Keith Allgood.
Present.
Tony Campbell.
Here.
Tony Gross is absent at a meeting in Ashland City, right, John?
Correct.
Okay. Mike Hargis.
Here.
Lauren Hill. Here. Brian McCain. Here. Mike Patno, that's me, here. Chuck Slater.
Here.
Todd Verhoeven.
Here.
All right, and the non-voting staff, Sharon is at the same meeting. John Lullis.
Here.
And Martha Brooke Perry.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. So you have the August 11th Planning Commission meeting minutes before you. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, those minutes are approved. Do we have a motion to approve today's meeting agenda?
So move.
Second. Are there any amendments, John?
No, sir.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, today's agenda is approved. So we're at community input. Ma'am, were you wanting to address
Yes.
the planning commission?
My name is Kathy Forrester. I live in the Ellerslie community.
Okay.
And I'm just here representing several neighbors who couldn't be here today to remind you all that we still have water coming into our garages, our crawl spaces. One of my neighbors that lives down on the lower Ellerslie level has so much water in his side yard that he can't let the dog out into the new fenced area. So we still have water problems this year.
Okay, thank you. And I'm guessing you have talked to John in the city hall during the week, our city manager. You may want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we have a complaint on file.
Okay. Well,
Yes, ma'am. Goes without saying.
That's funny.
So,
We are trying to fix it.
before I close community input, is there something that, you just came in, is there something you wanted to? Okay. All right. Okay, item 7, old business. Community input's closed. Golf Club of Tennessee. John, is that you?
Mark Brook.
This is
Okay.
just a standing item on the agenda. We're still talking with the Golf Club of Tennessee about resolving a few things, and so stay tuned.
Okay. Any questions for Martha Brooke? Okay. Item 7B, the Ellerslie PUD subdivision, Energy Fit Solutions, Inc. John, are you talking on that? Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The agreement before you has been reviewed by the city planner and the city attorney. It also meets the 4 corners of the PUD agreement that was recommended by the Planning Commission and approved by the Kingston Springs Board of Commissioners. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Be seeking a motion to recommend its approval and execution to the Board of Commissioners. And we have worked at this at length with Mr. Marvel and Energy Point Solutions, and his attorney, Mr. Reisner, is here tonight. We're going to indicate that y'all were in agreement with this as well.
That's great.
Okay. So the city's in agreement with this? I mean staff, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So do we have, and the motion is to recommend approval to the city commission?
Recommend approval and execution.
To the city commission, okay.
So move.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, are there any questions before we vote?
It was my understanding that they were going to ask for an extension. Has that been dropped?
What we did is we kept it at the 1 year. We started the trigger for that 1 year to be no later than 30 days from the date that it's executed. So, for example, it's executed on October 1st, have 1 year until October 1st of next year. But if they applied on, say, October 15th for the applications to start doing their grading and things like that, then we would start that 1 year on October 15th, but no later than 30 days after the date that it's signed by everybody. And then if we get a year from now and they've not been able, for weather reasons or whatever, been able to complete it, they can come back before the town, present why they have not been able to complete it, and if there is a reasonable reason, then the town we'll be able to grant them an extension, but no more than 6 months on that.
From my perspective, there's no excuse. This has been going on too long, and it needs to get done. And I don't-
Hopefully, this will get us moving in that direction,
Are
Mr.
you
Kevin.
comfortable with it?
I am, yes.
Did we not have a discussion about the roads and everything that needed to be done?
It's all contained in that, and the development plans are made as an exhibit to it. That's
Okay, but
all.
I thought somehow we tried to push that to be more prioritized.
Nothing can be started over there until this gets approved, and so once this is approved, then they can start filing for their applications to actually get all those in action and moving forward on it. They've submitted, you can see on Exhibit A, the development plans, all of that is contemplated as what they're going to be doing with the roads, with the other pieces of infrastructure, with the drainage, and all that is encapsulated in this. We just couldn't issue permits until we actually get all this in place.
So this is basically the first step in fixing the water
Yes.
program,
Yes.
the water problem, right?
The larger water problem, yes.
That's what I thought.
And does this, to Lauren's question, does this have the water fixing prioritized in the sequence of events?
There is not a sequence of what you're going to do first, although typically I would assume when you get out there and start grading, that would be one of the first things that you would do is adjusting your water. I'm not an engineer, I'm a lawyer, so, just it's common sense to me. Before you go in and you finally top out a road or anything along those lines, you're going to make sure you don't have a whole big bunch of water pouring down over the top of it, so.
You're supposed to.
So basically, once we approve this, then they've got a year to resolve the issues that she has brought up.
They have a year to finish phase 1 of the PUD.
Which includes the fixing of
The
it.
fixing of that.
It includes, isn't there a bond requirement too in this?
Yes, and that's another thing that's covered in here is the bond amount has been brought up to date. It's been using the state of Tennessee tables, and then we require an additional amount above that so that we can make sure there's plenty. So that has been addressed in here as well.
So should they, in the event that they don't complete in a year, is there any way that we can hold their feet to the fire?
The language in here contemplates, and it is standard contract language, that a request for an extension would not be unreasonably withheld. So if they come in here and they show we have had the absolute worst winter and the absolute wettest spring on record and we physically couldn't get in there and do this, then you would have to take it under advisement in the Board of Commissioners about granting an extension to this PUD agreement, to whether or not that is a reasonable request on that.
And if we didn't, what would happen?
If you didn't find it to be reasonable, then you've got a termination as this ends. He's got 1 year to finish it out. And if it's not done within that 1 year, then the town would be able to call upon that performance bond and do it itself.
And how much is the performance bond?
$489,000.
Thank you.
Right.
And then would the town take that bond to fix some of the issues?
Yes.
And then
That's why the bond amount is what it is should be enough. If all things remaining equal, it's calculated to be enough to be able to do roads, drainage, the rest of the infrastructure
It's
installation.
basically you're guaranteed the work's gonna get done within a
one way or
week.
the other. If they don't do it, then we'll get the money from them and we'll get it done.
That's correct.
Exactly. That's where we wanna be.
That's where we want to be, absolutely, yes. Thank you.
Any other questions before we vote?
In reference to water in the state of Tennessee, even more so than just Kingston Springs, the state of Tennessee does not consider water as a common enemy, correct?
I'm not sure I follow what you're referring to.
There's evidently some common enemy laws to where water within one residence or one ownership has to be directed into an area that is designated for it. They can't use somebody else's land.
In just general law in Tennessee, everybody's charged with maintaining their own water on their own
Correct.
property.
So at any point in time, even with or without this with the city, the residents of wherever, Ellerslie, whatever it may be, whatever community, could bring a suit against any individual that's not running their water into the correct drainage.
That's correct.
So it's
They would
not
have a
something
right
that they
of
have to
action.
wait on the city to address, even if the city has a binding agreement. At any point, if that person is putting water on you, I know it's not fun to do that with your neighbors, but within the law, you can bring a suit against them, and they're responsible for getting that, and that would be a whole separate thing.
That's a whole separate tort
That's
between
outside-
two.
that's outside
Yeah,
of
that's
us.
outside of
That's
us,
something
but a
I'm
whole
just
separate thing
wanting
between two separate
those
entities.
individuals to know that they don't have to wait on something to go through the city, that there's other avenues within the state.
Okay.
This is kind of where we've been trying to get to, is
Yeah,
Correct.
a performance bond in place where there's monetary penalties if it's not done in a certain time period. And a little
what-
1 year.
reasonable leeway in case the weather is just horrid
Correct.
and you can't move any dirt. But, you
And
know, I
then
think
it's
they
the
want
way
to do
we
this.
have to do it.
They want to do this as bad as we do because they don't want to pay for that performance bond.
and lose everything they've already done. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, they've had a lot of opportunities to do it.
yeah, well, this is the final opportunity where you've got a PUD in place and you got
Right.
the performance bond teeth in it so that everybody's going to want to run
Yeah,
to the
we haven't
completion of this
worked toward
agreement.
this for
All parties interested are
months.
going to want to complete this.
I'm done.
Right.
I move we recommend it to the city commission.
Second. For approval
We already
and
have-
execution.
Yes,
We already have a
already
motion and a second.
Okay, so the motion's on the table. Do we already have a second?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Hargis, second.
All right. So, any other questions or discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Okay, the next item, new business, 8A, consideration of change of use. Yoga Studio, 385 North Main Street, Suite 103, map 96B, Group A. And then we also have, that's all it is for, is that. It's
Yes.
just that it's adjacent to these other properties, right?
Correct.
So it's just for that yoga studio.
It's in that strip, right?
Yes, so this is in the strip right here downtown on Main Street. It is the suite that was formerly Sweet Tea's Ice Cream. The request is for a change of use to construct a yoga studio in that spot. It's commercial, it meets all the zoning requirements. It's strictly a change of use going from ice cream to yoga. Staff recommends that this be approved.
Is that, would the yoga place that's on this side of the street be moving into that, or is that?
No.
a different?
Different.
All right.
Oh, we're going big time to yoga.
Any questions?
Got
Okay.
a motion over here.
A motion,
Second.
and we're approving, or are we recommending approval?
You're
Approving.
approving on this one.
So we have a motion and a second to approve this. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that passes. John, is there anything else?
Sit back.
No, sir, there were setback requirements, but at late notice for Mayor Gross and City Planner Armstrong at the county meeting, so we'll have to postpone that training.
Okay.
We'll table that, we'll have a talk about all that, but about definitions and how to use it and the whole nine, I think we got some issues. But we'll do that later.
Okay.
Great.
Is there anything else?
I hope so.
All right, then we have a motion to adjourn.
So,
Okay. Meeting's adjourned.